to understand why I'm invited in particular to speak about who wins with crowdsourcing, you have to know a little bit more about the company that I co-founded 8 years ago at the University of Arts in Berlin. So it was during one of our final classes at university studying design. And when your university time is coming to an end, you ask yourself, like, okay, what's next? Yeah. So how will I want to work in the future? What opportunities are out there? So you look around, you see other talents. It's one of the best art schools in Europe, so you see other talents, great talents. And mostly, most of them are facing high entry barriers into their first job positions. So we asked more questions. We took a closer look at various verticals within the creative industries, from architecture to fashion design to this one is not working. No. I feel really limited here in space. Yeah, this works? Yeah? Sorry for this. So we looked at various creative verticals. I speak a little bit louder. Is that okay for you? Yeah. Okay, good. So we looked at various verticals within the creative industries, no matter architecture, fashion, advertising, and we realized that not only there are high entry barriers for young talent, even if you graduated at one of the best universities in Europe, it's also that the work environment itself is not really designed to nurture talent. Poor feedback cycles. It's actually quite ridiculous that an advertising agency is more line organized than a bank. And if you look at the top talent programs at banks or consultancies, well, that's a different kind of nurturing young talent compared to agencies or architecture firms. So we came to the conclusion that we need to create our own work environment, an environment for creative talent that is much more open, social and collaborative. So that was the idea. And so we basically didn't focus on the question who wins with crowdsourcing. We focused on how do we have to organize crowdsourcing to create a win-win. A win for those that work in these environments, and obviously a win for organizations using crowdsourcing. It started in 2008. We believe that 500 talented young designers must be really interesting to work with them. So that was our initial idea. Dan just said we have 60,000 on the platform, and that was when this intro text was written. I think today we have more than 75,000 people participating and collaborating on our platform. We've done hundreds of challenges, mostly for large organizations, agencies, and brands, because talent wants recognition. They want to have access to compelling tasks. To large brands, they want to see their work being produced in millions and not in small, limited versions. So we've ran hundreds of projects to understand how we have to organize work. And in a way that it creates a win-win for creatives as well as for those who work with our community. And we stumbled about one key driver that whenever a project happens where people started to collaborate, to truly collaborate, like exchange ideas, discuss them, iterate on these ideas, form teams, and evolve ideas throughout the process into solutions, then we realized we're creating a win for creatives immediately. And the added value for the organizations running the challenges on our platform is much higher. So when we create more value, there's more to share with those who work in the process. So we realized that if we foster collaboration, we can enable complex problem solving. To give you an idea of some of the cases that we run on our platform, this one was for an oil company and focused on service design. The CEO of the company was saying, like, hey, there's tremendous change in the industry, energy is changing, mobility is changing, our cities are changing, so we will impact our business fundamentally. It's a paradigm shift in society, and what happens to all those thousands of gas stations that we have? We're pretty aware that in 5 to 10, at least in 15 years, those gas stations won't serve the function they serve today. So we've worked with over 2,000 architects, service designers, product designers on iterating on these questions, like what is the gas station of the future? This one we did in New York together with Treehugger and Cisco. Manhattan has limited space. There's more people moving into urban areas, and so it's a pretty logical conclusion. We have to live in smaller spaces, smaller apartment spaces. I don't know, Dan, how big is your apartment in Manhattan? 1250. Okay, this one is 39 square meters. I'm not good with the metric system though. Yeah, 390, right. So this one was a small apartment in Manhattan, which we used as a blueprint, and we invited thousands of architects and designers to think about how to get the most out of this tiny space. It was really an inspiring project. It ended up in production. A Romanian architectural student became a business partner of Graham Hill, the founder of Tree Hugger, and they're now building these live-edited apartments, and they founded a business out of it. So this also are stories we write on our platform. This is ongoing on the platform right now. Linz, the city in Austria, has this big, outdated bridge. So what should we do with it? So upcycling, reusing infrastructure that's not being used anymore. So these kind of complex challenges. But also questions we tackled with the Harvard Business Review, like, can you build a house for less than $300 for people living in favelas? Because that's about the amount of money they would invest into building infrastructure because they don't own the real estate. So really complex questions, often wicked problems we're tackling with our crowd. So one thing that we learned is that for those who engage in the process, who start to collaborate, that they have to invest so much more time than just having an idea, articulating it, and uploading it on a marketplace. So the simple, like, sharing idea or sourcing an idea, you have to respond to feedback, facilitate feedback into your idea. If someone tries to help you, you at least should be so kind to send a signal, thanks. You might not value the feedback, but it's a lot about how you interact with others. So the transaction costs for the creatives on the platform are tremendously high. And then it comes to forming teams, yeah? Debating around your ideas, making collective decisions, and then uploading new versions of the ideas. All this happens on our platform. On the fly, there's teams forming itself, and so the level of required engagement is super high at times. So for us, it was all about understanding how to design motivation in this open call environment. Because of course, we can't put a few thousand architects on contract for a single project on the platform. Those transaction costs would simply be too high for us as an organization. So we've worked a lot on motivational patterns. I don't want to dive deeper into this. It will take much more time. There's an entire chapter in this book that I was honored to co-author, Crowdsourcing. So you find the periodic system of motivation in there. If you want to engage with external talent, outside talent, then this might be a good guideline. But just some insights that we've stumbled upon while building Jovoto and learning and iterating along the way. So you need, or we needed a creative process and a community that enables social learning. So people who learn from each other instantly while they work together, they add value. Yeah? It's extrinsic motivation because they can leverage their learnings and monetize them later in other projects. So it's an immediate return, and we have a poll with our community twice a year. So why do you work on our platform? What do you want here? What do you expect? So really try to understand our community. And number one factor since the founding days, because here it's really about applied learning, social learning, and this is giving me direct value in the process, even though my idea might not end up being licensed or produced in the market. This was a project we did for Vladimir Klitschko with an agency, Jung von Matt. They were looking for like a product brand for Vladimir's new business. But we've designed the system for ownership. So those who work in a project, they make a collective decision about who gets paid which amount. So there's a certain project, there's a certain pool of prize money, and the prizes are distributed based upon a collective decision. So everybody rates each other's work, some quite complex rating algorithms in the background, trying to make the system as transparent and as safe as possible. So ownership is important. If you have something to say, in the environment you're working, it actually feels good, builds trust. That's really important. We had to learn this over time, because if you are a warm water heater, so for every project you have to activate and motivate a unique crowd, it's simply too expensive. So we have to build a system that provides perspectives to all these human beings on our platform. So you can start in public projects, like come up with a marketing campaign or a campaigning idea for Greenpeace. And our system recognizes whether you're a good collaborator, whether you're providing good feedback to others, or if your ideas or your work is being appreciated. And so you collect karma points. And according to these points, you get promoted into higher layers where you have access to more work. The top layer is about 2.5% of the community. And if they work, they get a guaranteed payment of €400 per day. So for them, Jovoto is a secure workplace. We have to consider we are part of a market, and so we can at least, for those who accept Jovoto as a workplace, we can at least provide this environment. So these perspectives are super important to build a sustainable community. Yeah, so in the end, always keep in mind, heavy talent delivers better results. It's really simple. If you're passionate about something, you're willing to go the extra mile, you enjoy what you do, even if you go the extra mile. Yeah, thank you for your time.